Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Global Trade Show. I'm your host, Lawrence Christoffels. Today, I'm joined in studio by Ben from NoRap. Ben, wonderful to meet you. How are you?
Really good, Lawrence. Yeah, nice to meet you too.
You too. So, Ben, I'd love to tell the audience about NoRap and all the amazing things that you've done with it. But let's introduce yourself first and your background, and then let's talk about how NoRap came about.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Ben Young, and I'm the owner of Frank Green, the water bottle company, and also NoRap. And NoRap has come out of Frank Green, but before that, my background is in logistics. I worked in main logistics early on, and I was in the graduate program and all that kind of thing. So I've got a proud logistics background. So I think that's a part of understanding what the benefits of NoRap are to the global supply chain movement.
Yeah, lovely. Well, it's great that you've got that experience firsthand because the benefits are pretty obvious when you think about all the plastic that goes across supply chain.
Mhm.
How did you come about with the idea?
Yeah, well, at our business, we're really proud about how we genuinely care about the environment. So, rather than getting just some tick of approval from a body or whatever it might be, we have a sustainability principles where we look at the materiality of what we're doing to the environment, and we've removed all the plastic, every single part of it, out of the supply chain when we're manufacturing our reusable products and bringing them to Australia and also our international markets. But pallet wrap is something that we couldn't get rid of. So it stayed, it stayed at the top of the list. So our sustainability, group got together and we started to, use the resources that Frank Green has, because we are a design company, because we have designed 150 products,
Wow.
from start to finish, and we really try and understand what ticks consumers' boxes and what problems. So we've got a process that we go to make the world's, most beautiful, technically advanced, reusable products, and that was applied to NoRap. And I'm really proud of the team, Sam and Larry and the rest of the guys who could see that this was the last thing we needed to get rid of in our supply chain. So we worked really hard at it. And we, trialed it for 2 years before we've come to market, because we want to make sure that it genuinely, ticks all the boxes, and we don't want to do it in half measures. We've got a lot on the line.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think it's so inspiring to hear that the journey that you've taken with Frank Green and how it's now evolved into NoRap.
Mm-hmm.
I think as well, Ben, that these days companies who are in the supply chain logistics service providers, they're under more and more pressure by their clients to demonstrate that they're doing the sustainable portion, they're making real change. More and more so with RFQs and tenders.
Yeah.
Those questions are really starting to shape whether they're going to win a contract or not.
Yeah, that's right. And, the statistics are staggering. Like I didn't, yes, I have a logistics background, and M&A and all that kind of, but I didn't really realize how devastating single-use plastic when it comes to pallet wrap is. There's 600 million tons of pallet wrap produced every year, and that end on end, the 1 meter wide, how many microns, that goes to the moon and back 848 times.
Wow.
And then in Australia, we have 100 million tons, and once you divide it by the population and everything, there's nearly 7 pallets worth of shrink wrap per Australian person. So people don't really understand that, when you go to our supermarkets or buy a television, or their contribution is 7 pallets worth of pallet wrap. And there's about, it depends on if it's hand strapped or by a machine, there's typically about 500 grams of pallet wrap per pallet wrapped. So you think about that is a huge impact, and we now can not use it. It's that simple.
Well, let's explain, we'll obviously put in place some video as part of the interview, but can we explain to the viewers a bit more detail about, how it works, how the framing works?
Yeah, sure. So we have 2 major components of it. First of all is the backbone corners that you put on the 4 extremities of a pallet, and they're kind of like a corner section. And then we have a special loop and lock strap that you put around the pallet, and we Velcro, and you Velcro it into place. And, because each of the corners have a foot, when you're traveling along, they kind of dig in and don't let the pallet go up. And so with our testing that we have done independently, the Australian standards and the standards are around about 20 degrees on a tilt test. We're getting high 30s, nearly 40 degrees because of just how it works and constricts that pallet. And so that's for, closed loop environments, but we also have a strap that goes up and over the top and connects beautifully to the sort of to the spine of the pallet that you can use for open movements as well. So it's for both open and closed movements, and we're just been blown away that how effective it is. And one thing that we kind of love doing is we go for walks in our warehouse and just down our aisles. And when you walk down an aisle with no shrink wrap in it, it feels different.
Yeah.
And so, rather than seeing all this unnecessary waste, you can see the future, that there is a hope and there is a chance to get rid of 600 million tons of plastic. And, this is not all about doomsday, right? This is about being able to give a solution that ticks all of our customers' boxes. But there's not one piece of plastic on this earth that's ever biodegraded. It is still here. And, and plastic is nature's cancer. And that's why there's 500 clinical studies that relate plastic back to ailments that we have as humans. And so, this is a big step forward, particularly with pallet wrap being, 2 to 3% of the plastic that it gets produced on this earth.
Well, I think global trade and supply chain as an overall contributes massively to environmental impact, whether it's through the bunker fuels on ships. Obviously, aviation fuel is massive, and everything that it can package, whether it's foam, plastics, all those type of things that consumers are really becoming more aware and more conscientious about how they make those decisions.
Yeah. And that is right. I think, that there is some good information going to consumers so they can make a choice when they purchase. So, I think that transparency in our supply chain is really welcome from our part.
Yeah. Well, it's a great point you just talked about with transparency as well, Ben. I mean, one of the great things about No Wrap from what I saw is that you can see the product really well. The packaging is obviously strong integrity there anyway, but from a labeling perspective, it's easy for the operators to see what's actually there. Shrink wrap can often, pick the wrong product sometimes, all those type of things. So there's some other sort of added side benefits as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. Across all the metrics, safety is greatly improved. No sharp knives, no things like that. Back injuries. When you wrap a pallet, is a lot easier. It's cheaper. Every pallet costs $4 to wrap once you put labor and the pallet wrap into it is a lot cheaper for this. It's definitely cleaner. You don't have to buy the pallet wrap. You don't have to store the pallet wrap. You don't have to dispose of the pallet wrap. And then know that 95% of pallet wrap in Australia actually gets sent to landfill because we don't have the cost and the economics of recycling don't work. It's better to have, it's cheaper to have virgin materials made, virgin plastic wrap, rather than recycle it into new.
Which is sad,
Well, it is, but it's just the way the economics work here in Australia. Safer, cleaner, faster, cheaper is definitely what we've been able to prove with No Wrap. And just imagine that that you have to get a box out of a pallet that's been shrink wrapped. You got to go cut it and then cut part of it and then take it out. With that, you just loosen the straps, pull the box out, and then on your way.
And you tie it up again.
Yeah, and just imagine the movement too. You're unpacking this stuff in your container. You have your pallets on the ground. You put your boxes on it. And then you've got to take the pallet to the shrink wrapping machine, and then you've got to take it from the shrink wrapping machine to the put away location. With our solution, you don't do that. You just go straight to the put away.
Yeah.
And so, we take around about 45 seconds to wrap a pallet, and that's a really nice, comfortable standard. And it is upwards of 3 minutes by the time you take it to the pallet wrapping machine, you wrap it, and you take it away.
Well, I know as a supply chain consultant, when you look at your pick faces, so many warehouses, 3PLs, they'll actually want to use pallets as pick faces. So they don't have to worry about putting on racks or other storage solutions. So the fact that no wrap can also essentially be used as a really simple pick face as well, where you can, as you say, have easy access, quick access without trying to cut all this old shrink wrap to get to your product as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something we're super proud of. And the thing is, it's built around real life, problems that we've had. And then we didn't come to market. We've had a whole heap of iterations of it. And just like the Velcro straps that we use are tear resistant.
Yeah.
So if you've got a nick in them, they're not going to proliferate and fall apart.
Yeah.
The materials that we're using are really resilient. They've got great impact resistance and rigidity at the same time. And it's something we're really proud of as we do it. We manufacture our corners here in Australia.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So imagine that. The clever green, clean, engineering jobs that we're bringing back to Australia, and we consider that we would probably employ 100 people on the no wrap business in the next year to move it around the world.
Wonderful. Congratulations on that. So Ben, talk about, the concept now. You've done the trials. Has industry embraced it? Can we talk about any sort of trials that you've been working with industry?
Well, we can. We've only launched 2 weeks ago, and in the first week we had over 100 inquiries.
Fantastic.
So because I think it's just so obvious what we've done, and once you use it and you can see it in practice, and now we're working through, when you talk to these big companies that have embraced us with open arms, we're working through all the safety, checks and balances in there. So we'd like to think that we will be announcing to the market within a couple of weeks some very, very big names that have come on board to start the no wrap thing. So I think we're just 2 weeks, and I'm kind of proud of these companies, these other Aussie companies, because they are going to try this and take it on. And with them, rather than letting the cat out of the bag, I'd rather let them be able to announce this to their customers, that they're, really taking away the last thing that they couldn't take out of the supply chain as well, in terms of the single-use plastic wrap.
Great. And obviously Australia is only one of the markets. I'm sure that no wrap is going to go global, and really want to offer the solution worldwide.
Yeah, that's right. And so we will manufacture, we've already got the plans, and tooling is underway to manufacture our product in country. That's always the best way to do it. Asia's a nice central place, but why wouldn't you manufacture in Europe? Why wouldn't you manufacture in the UK? Why wouldn't you manufacture in America and even New Zealand, for example? So we will be doing that, and we're just really lucky with our connections, or we worked really hard to get them through the Frank Green journey. So when we take something on, it's not about experimenting in a sense. We've got established networks and the ability to really scale this really quickly.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, Ben, congratulations to you and the team. I'm a huge fan. I can see so many benefits, not just the recycling benefits and environmental benefits, but there's so many other user benefits, as you said, safety, visibility, transparency.
Yeah.
There's a whole checklist of tick boxes that you tick off. So congratulations to you and the team. Can't wait to see industry embrace it, take it up. And I know the BCOs, the end consumers, will love to see that their products, that they're the ones actually buying and selling the products, so shipping them or transporting them around, that they themselves can reduce their impact on their business as well.
Yeah, that's right. And, we most certainly have plans in place for technology and, calculators to assess that and be certified no wrap suppliers and manufacturers as well. So there's a whole system that will come with this to make sure that it's actually ticking all of our customers' boxes globally.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have to get you back in, or, I know we're talking off camera, maybe come out on site and see some of the stuff in action as well.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that, Lawrence.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.